Welcome back, Lelanders, to a new episode of Ley Lines. Nah, I'm not sure what to call that, but got a whole bunch of updates about the ley line maps and material. In today's show specifically, it looks like we're going to be talking about Mars ley lines. Woohoo! Now, if anyone can tell, I'm a little bit more chipper than usual. It's not because my wife's at work and I'm at home looking at ley lines, but it's because I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Starting to do working on my rehab for the concussion and the hernia surgery, and starting to get a little bit of progress. So thank God, starting to feel more alive. Woohoo! Anyway, so today, since we got the ley line map working with the leylines.net, we're still waiting on a few things to get the pictures and to progress on the book. We've got a whole bunch of great comments and activity from the Leyline fans in the YouTube chat, so really appreciate that. That's what helped inspire me get this video going today. What else was there? Yeah, so that's basically what we're waiting on, is to get a version of the map that doesn't have the stars. Then we're going to get the book out. Oh, and just to clarify to the viewers too, I was thinking about it. It does kind of suck that I'm releasing a book and the book won't be free. But I was thinking, to be fair to all the viewers of the YouTube channel, I'm just going to cover the book. And technically the book won't be free to own a copy one way, but there's always the library method. So if anyone wants, they can always go to a Canadian library, sign up, and they can borrow the book for free that way. But I think Canadian libraries do it where they lend you a digital copy that expires and then just vanishes off your device. So, but either way, none of the material will be like behind a paywall. We'll still cover everything. So today what we're covering is the connection between the Mars and Earth ley lines. I started to notice this. It kind of like blew my mind, is when I saw that we started working on a ley line on Earth. This one here that goes through the now labeled Gulf of America. Now, I try not to get too deep into politics because I'm a centrist, so I piss everyone off. But anyways, yeah, it's like some people are worried about offending the left or offending the right. It's like, I offend both. But anyways, not to get too political. Anarchy. Oh, I'm just kidding. So yeah, we got the ley line that goes through the Gulf of America. And I did a podcast with another ley line researcher named Art Olivier. Shout out to Art's channel. I think people are saying that I'm their all-time favorite ley line researcher. Not to make fun of that, but I just think when I think of my all-time favorite researcher, it was actually Art Olivier. And he did his work on the September 11th ley line. And he realized that there was like a ley line going this way across the continent that connected all the attacks from the September 11th sites. So like the Boston airport, the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, all in like a straight line. And it made like a ley line of sacrifice. That's when I started to realize that demon dreams were true. Because when you get into that research, yeah, you're going down the demon route, and God forbid you start making some progress. It's terrible. But anyways, yeah, we won't get too good or too deep into the ley line of sacrifice. But I just thought it was ironic that the ley line of sacrifice also went through the area of Mexico that had all those volcanoes that people are getting thrown into. And then when I happened to boot up the Mars map, lo and behold, that same ley line of sacrifice goes through the same three volcanoes. Or not the same, but three giant volcanoes on Mars. Almost like that ley line of sacrifice is not only involved with volcanic activity on the Earth, but also on Mars. So that's why I was like, well, that's kind of weird. If that's true, wouldn't like volcanoes like, say, Hawaii and Mount Olympus, the biggest volcano on Mars, be somewhat in a similar area? And lo and behold, here's Mount Olympus. What are these two stars there? They mark Da-da-da-da, Hawaii volcano. So it's obviously not directly over it. There's some distance between. But on the scale of an entire planet, the fact that it's only that far away from it, it is pretty close, I think. So that's when I started to realize, I'm like, oh man, these ley line fields that are affecting the Earth, they don't just affect the Earth in a similar way, but they affect other bodies in the solar system. This is where you get into the planet terraforming. Like, really, if you want to terraform a planet to be really similar to the Earth, one of the first steps is just make the planet the same size and shape, roughly. Now, obviously, Earth and Mars are not the same, but they're very similar. I think Mars is slightly smaller. If anyone could correct me in the chat. So, yeah, when we talk about the planets being the same, there's also, what was it, the axial tilt? Is that the same for both Mars and Earth? I could be wrong, but it's very similar. And I was wondering that seemed a little bit strange, but I think it's part of the terraforming process as well. We can almost see the hallmarks of Earth being terraformed in different ways, like the tilt, and look at places like the interesting part too is that our tilt and axis like that was created with one moon. But then you go to Mars, and it was able to create almost the same tilt, but with multiple moons. So I don't know if that was a coincidence that nature has a way of just aligning planets on a similar axial tilt like that naturally, or is it being engineered, or is it engineered to occur naturally? There's probably a few other options in there I didn't even consider, but so now we can look at the two planets and say, okay, what else is similar? So you can use the ley lines here to illustrate like which is which area of the planet. So when we zoom out, and we can see that this little cluster of stars is just beneath the Gulf of America. And on Mars, you see somewhat of an area there, but with two areas around it. So that's kind of interesting there. Not sure what's up with that. It's almost like you could see the way the rivers were draining in before. Is how the rivers would drain into the Gulf of America. So then when you pan up, it seems like the shoreline or northern coast of Mars and Earth were slightly different. And very similar in other ways, right? Like you can look at this, what is this, like pyramid shape and curvature around that way. Pyramid shape, curvature around that way. How it's like smashed up. Sorry, I hate when those little windows open up. I'll have to find a way to keep those off permanently, but this part is when it gets interesting too. Is I don't believe Earth has any landmass. Sorry to ruin it for the Santa Claus and North Pole. I'm sure that there's like a hidden landmass there that the North Pole is constructing gifts. But on the official maps, Earth has no landmass on the North Pole other than just ice. And then, yeah, then the other continents slightly off. Or not continents, but what is that called? Greenland. No, I think Greenland should be considered part of Canada. It's kind of interesting how Denmark has it right now. You bastards! I'm just kidding. Land back, land back. No, I'm just kidding. Not to get political. But anyways, yeah, for Mars in this continent, it's interesting that we don't see it connect to another continent with the two pyramids at the top, like we see at Earth. Earth also had this where prior to the creation of the first ice age, Greenland used to fill this pyramid here. So you had a full square at the top of open ocean. But since the creation of our first ice age, or the split of the mega South Pole, when we started to get the wandering poles, how you got the pole shifts and all the wanderings that happen that way, and this sort of like a figure 8 pattern actually. So this figure 8 pattern of wandering poles, it happened when the South Pole split, but we got a whole episode about that and we won't cover it too much. But I was just surprised that Mars at the top didn't have that same type of features. I was like, wow, that's kind of surprising. But the ones that did match were like, yeah, the East Coast. You could say that that almost looks like it used to work its way up there. And then when it comes to the ratio of what is it, landmass to water, it seems like Mars seemed to have like a higher ratio of landmass. Or is it just me? Because yeah, like when you zoom out, it's like, holy crap, Mars is just mainly all land. Or it could just be the way the topography map worked out. Who knows? Maybe this was actually the real shoreline. We'll have to see once we see better recreations of Mars with water. Oh, I almost forgot to test the chat. Hey everybody. I know we don't usually get many live Ley Line viewers, but here we do a live episode just for the fun of it today. Oh yeah, it's working. Now if anyone wants to see any correlations on Mars, just let me know. We'll try to keep it Mars related for today, because can't go too long. Just because I'm off work right now, I can't just sit around do Ley Line stuff all day. I gotta go do dishes and keep the house clean so my wife can relax when she gets home from work. I know I'm the housewife right now while I'm recovering from surgery. All right. At least I don't have to breastfeed. Just kidding. All right. So, said too much. All right. Anyways, let's go to. Let's see my other favorite correlations. So as you work your way down from the coast, you see you got that triangle shaped land there. Then you got like a whole bunch of giant rivers that work their way in. So where do we see that here on Earth? We see the St. Lawrence and how it goes into the Great Lakes. Then there's the Great Lakes Basin around there. So that's basically the St. Lawrence of Mars. Except it's interesting that on Mars it seemed like the St. Lawrence kept going down south and connected all the way to the Amazon. But we'll get to the Amazon in a second. So now when you look at Earth and Mars and how you had the St. Lawrence go in, next on Earth you have a big vacant spot of ocean. So that's the same thing on here. After it goes in, you start to see a big vacant spot, if that was the shoreline. Alright. So next, when we look at South America, we can see South America makes a little bit of a pyramid shape, starts at that spot and goes up. And then we can see here the pyramid shape, yep, does start, go up, a little bit over, but... So now we have this would be the South America. And this little tip here would be that tip there. All the landmass, so you can start to see. And now we can see the giant canyon that goes in this way. That also happens to be the giant canyon of the if you dried out the Amazon River, you would have this giant canyon that would go through. And it's on its way to the equator, just like it is on this giant canyon going all the way to the equator. Now, the one thing I was thinking too, some viewers reporting out in the chat, they're like, Leland, you're the only person that does the ley line stuff like this. I don't know, I'm not sure exactly how I'm doing it differently. I have watched a little bit of the other ones, but I figured if I am doing something a little bit differently, even though I'm not getting a lot of people watching, who knows, maybe I am contributing and sometime in the future it could pick up in the amount of viewers that watch, or even the contribution to science itself. Maybe it will help us stumble upon something. But either way, I figure, hey, let's do a show on Mars and show what it's the similarities. Yeah, so why exactly the Amazon River and the canyon on Mars always goes with this line pattern? I'm pretty sure it has to do with the gravity well field. Some people could debate and say it has nothing to do with gravity, and they could be right because gravity, I think, even for science itself right now, is still such a mystery that no one really can say they know for sure. So that's why I'm kind of exploring all options. Okay, so next when we get down, it's interesting that we go down in this direction, and around here, this area, where this happens to be, this blue spot here and this general area here happens to correlate with some sort of weird gravity well anomaly that researchers are trying to determine what it is. So it's interesting that that's like the giant dip in the ocean where it is in South America, and then on Mars in that same correlating area, we got this giant blue. I don't know if that's like a meteor impact crater or why there's like this giant dip there. Could it be there was a gravity well anomaly there as well? So I'm not sure exactly. Then we get to the poles. So this is where the maps get a little funky. So yeah, you can see that on Mars's south pole, it is a giant landmass. Their breakup of like continents, like their, what is it, the Pangea? It doesn't look like it broke apart much on Mars. Like most of the continent didn't drift. I don't know if that's because of less volcanic activity. But it's interesting either way. Alright, so if we can look at other features. Oh yeah, the opposites for India. What I found interesting when it came to Mars and the India equivalent, people want to see that part of the globe and how it correlates. On Earth, this pole region, or whatever region you want to call it, not really a pole, but we got the triangle or pyramid that separates India from Thailand and makes like a pyramid. The ironic part on Mars, the same region has the pyramid shape, but it's flipped, like upside down. So I thought that was kind of interesting. If people want to look at the correlations to gravity well fields and how it affects planet formation, could it be that in some cases you get the the opposite effect? Instead of land dividing that way above, it divides the opposite way below. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, does anyone know? We got another one of those giant impact areas. Can anyone guess what this is on Earth? Another gravity well anomaly. It's weird how it makes another weird pattern on Mars as well in the general area. Why we have these gravity well anomalies in similar locations on planets, I don't know. I can't say for sure that Mars has a gravity well anomaly there, but the fact that there's this giant crater or whatever that is there. So I think science still comes into the parts where they're looking into mysteries, and sometimes they call things craters because it looks like craters, but then they realize that it wasn't a crater. So then they're left with the ideas of like the electric universe. Could it be some sort of plasma blast that hit the planet and left like a giant impact mark? Who knows what it is, right? Alright, I guess I'll have to wrap up this video soon. Get those dishes done. Alright, oh yeah, for the viewers, we get a fair bit of viewers watching from the New Zealand, Australia area, so big shout out to them. I actually got a mat that I'm sitting on my computer chair right now. Not to say that I like to walk all over Australia, but no, it's I got this basically is a map. This exact same pattern here, without the stars, is what my map is below me, or my computer chair rug. It's pretty sweet. not to brag, but I'm gonna try once I get my book out to have some cool merchandise to go with it like that. Well, I think it's cool, but who knows what other people think. Alright, so anyways, oh yeah, we're getting to the Australia. Alright, so when it comes to Australia, basically Japan and Asia, it's not there on Mars. That's where their ocean is. So that part is significantly different because I guess their continent didn't split up the same way. So we see that the outlines of Australia occur here, and you can sort of make out a little bit of the landmass shape with like a lighter color around it and darker in the center. It's kind of interesting. And the Papua New Guinea like island chain, you can almost see it there. Oh, what I can do is, oh no, I used to be able to. I was going to change the transparency, but I don't think I can on this split screen view. But anyways, yeah, you can sort of make out where Papua New Guinea shore would be. It's like the supercontinent didn't really split there, so it's still intact. Here's where Indonesia would be, the Indonesian island. So that part is very similar actually in some ways. Yeah, when you get out to the, what is it, the Ring of Fire, there's the Ring of Fire for Mars. It'll be interesting to see if volcanic activity is more active in this region of Mars, or if that's something that's not real correlation. So down here, this would be New Zealand. And interestingly, as you can see, that Mars has, they didn't get the split of their two continents, like how our South Pole broke apart, or mega South Pole, and started the cycle of ice ages. They never actually had that problem on Mars. Their whole entire South Pole megacontinent, it just stayed one megacontinent. It never broke. So I think that could be from less volcanic activity. Who really knows, right? So you can almost make out the little New Zealand area here, the megacontinent of Australia, New Zealand, Mars, it's joined. Now it is kind of interesting that there is quite a bit of a sea there, so there is a little bit of correlation there with the oceans would have aligned. I don't know if that aligns with that, almost. And then we get back into the North America coast. So this would have been like the west coast of Mars. Except their planet was like really weird that wasn't just a coastline that ended and went in, it just kept going. Their continent never broke up. Wild. But it is kind of neat when you think about it too, that just the two coastlines, they are very similar, right? All the way it bends in like that, bends in like that. Oh, they got the Pac-Man part there. One of those like little India-Thailand splits. But it happens on that angle. Really, this Pac-Man split there is, it's almost like it just shifted over a little, right? Well, I guess we'll wrap up the episode there. We don't want to make it hours. 24 minutes is pretty good. If anyone else wants to point out neat correlations that I might have missed between the Mars and Earth ley lines, or the continents in general, like even put the ley lines aside, the way some of the similarities, like the Amazon and this giant canyon on Mars. The one that freaks me out the most, obviously, is the volcanoes aligning with the ley line of sacrifice from Earth. Like, that is wild, man. I don't want to get too much into that stuff because that's terrible, but yeah, there we go. Yep, Mars and Earth, the similarities. Oh yeah, and then other episodes coming up. We will talk about the similarities on other situations. Like here we got planetary bodies that are very similar. Wait till we start comparing moons to see how similar they can get to each other. It's also very interesting. Just not to give a little spoiler alert, but our moon has this really wild, like giant crater on it. It's like one of the biggest in the entire solar system, and this giant crater happens to match the exact same shape and location of another crater on a moon. Think of Jupiter. Well, I'm not sure. We'll have to double check the location of the other moon. But when you take the two and compare them, it's mind blowingly similar. So it's like, I don't know, a lot of the things that we've been calling impact craters, I don't know if we'll be able to keep calling them that for very much longer. It could explain why a lot of the impact craters on the moon are actually hexagon shaped. But, um, yeah, the book situation, getting the stars off the map so that we can do that. What else is happening with the ley line materials? Oh yeah, and then I was thinking that maybe my work situations will work out better soon, and I'll be able to put more time and resources and energy into the ley lines, and get some donations to the leylines.net. So if anyone's in a better situation already and they can help out, don't forget to send some love to the leylines.net guy, George. He has what is it, a donations button on his page. You can't miss it. So if you're having trouble finding his donation link, just let me know and I'll point you out to where it is. See if I can find it actually. Um, help leylines.net. Share the site. Damn. No, I can't find the donations button. Um, base map. No, upgrade. Disclaimer. Ah, here it is. Donate. So yeah, if you click the data attribution button and then go to donate. So if anyone can help with that, really appreciate it. All right, thanks a million, and bye for now. And if if any of the viewers got more leyline topics they want me to discuss, just let me know. I'll try to keep the channel updated. It's nice to know people are watching. Thanks a million. We may not have millions of viewers, not yet, but even one is perfect. All right, let's go. See ya. Bye for now. Dishes.